Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you live from beautiful Central Europe. I hope everybody is having a great weekend so far, staying happy, healthy, getting some time to relax and enjoy life as well. Students, in this class, we are looking at speaking part 2, the cue card, and we're going to discuss how to answer and get some nice scores in this part of the speaking exam. This is a members chat class. Of course, everybody is welcome to watch. We will have an all chat class coming up in about 90 minutes, which will be speaking part 3. And speaking part 3 will be connected to this speaking part 2 cue card. So it's a good idea to stick around even if you can't join the chat. If you'd like to become a member of our channel, you can click the join button next to the subscribe button. If you don't see that button, just send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com and I can help you further. Welcome members. Hi Carolina. Hi Sammy. Bekjan, good to see you in the class. I know that you're on your way now to realizing your dreams in Australia. Just a quick question, Bekjan. When are you going to Australia? So when are you planning to actually be there? And another question I have is, where are you going? Adelaide, Melbourne? Which city in Australia? I'm quite curious, if you don't mind sharing with the group. While Bekjan does that, students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Please visit us there and check out our premium package. For the general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of our websites, we have loads and loads of help for you. And a little bit more help today, you can use code R4TYJ to get a 20% discount when you click and sign up. Bekjan, Sydney, nice. Right on, Sydney. I've never been there. My parents have been there. They quite liked it. And it looks like a beautiful place. So I love surfing. So I definitely will go to Australia at some point and catch some waves, as there are several spots for surfing. If you've never tried surfing, Bekjan, I highly, highly recommend picking up that sport while you're there. Surfing is an amazingly fun sport. It's a fantastic feeling to ride a wave. All right, so just a quick look at our website here. Blue background, aehelp.com. You can click that big red button to join our premium package there. And for the general IELTS, it's the green background. Click that big red button to join us there. Okay, and again, you can use this code. We are certified British Council agents and certified British Council registration center as well. So, of course, this is a one-time payment for lifetime access. So it's a fantastic learning tool for you, and you can practice your speaking, writing, and other parts of the exam as well. Just one more thing about surfing, Bekjan. Be really safe, okay? Don't be a hero. Take it step by step, right? People get injured when they try to do too much too quickly in surfing. So just as somebody who surfs, I wanted to make sure I tell you that before you go out there and catch some big waves. Okay, the ocean can be quite intense. So just step by step. All right. As a teacher and as a father, I feel responsibility to share that one more piece of advice with you, encouraging you to do surfing. Okay, so students, here is our schedule for the holidays, okay? So a little bit of an interesting schedule coming up for the holiday season. As many of you know, especially here in Europe, Christmas, New Year's, it's kind of the holiday season in the year. Again, right now we will have speaking part 2, and then we will follow that with speaking part 3. And Tomorrow and on Monday, there will be no class. However, I have added 2 more classes to Tuesday the 22nd. So coming up on Tuesday, there will be 2 classes. Usually there's no classes on this day, but this coming week, there will be classes on the 22nd and the 23rd. And then from the 24th to the 27th, on these 4 days, there are no classes. And I'm again back on the 28th, 29th, 30th, and then 31st to the 1st, no classes. So, and then the rest of the schedule, I will post this schedule on our YouTube community bulletin, so you can check it out there, and I'll remind you about it in the upcoming classes as well, okay? So, no class tomorrow on Monday, but class again on Tuesday, all right? So that's kind of a unique shift. Pay attention to that. Okay. Yeah, Sammy, surfing, skiing, those are some of my favorite sports in the summer and winter, respectively. And whether I'm riding the water, the waves in the ocean, or the frozen water on the mountain, that's fun. Both of those sports are extremely fun. All right, so let's get into today's part 2 question. Now, this part 2 question might seem somewhat familiar, and it should, okay? So here is our part 2 cue card for the day. Describe a visit to a different city than your hometown. Which city did you visit and why? Who did you go with? What did you do when you were there? What is your general opinion about this city? You will have 1 to 2 minutes to talk about this topic. You will have 1 minute to prepare what you are going to say. Now, it's very, very rare, almost never, in fact, that I ever repeat questions and cue card topics. But I thought that I would do that this one time because I want to remind you members and all of our viewers that it is important to go back and revisit questions that you have practiced in both the speaking and in the writing sections. One of the negative study techniques that many students pursue is always looking at new questions and never revisiting old ones and trying different answers, improving grammar, and just seeing and comparing how much better you have become. There's a couple reasons you want to do that. First, feedback and repetition of the same question can be very effective for learning. Also, it's a great way to build confidence because you can feel and see much more your improvement than just always going into new questions, okay? So here we have this question, and we covered this question a couple months ago. Does anybody remember what answer we gave to this question? I believe several of you were in that class. So this part 2 cue card about a place that you visited, a city that's different from your hometown. Anybody remember what answer we provided for this back in October? Remember this city? I thought it was quite memorable. It's quite visual. I still have that visual picture. In fact, I still have a lot of the information that we discussed, even though I've had quite a few classes since then with you. I easily recall this one. Very nice, Rashika. Good for you, Rashika. You get my first giant thumbs up for good memory recall. And paying attention. Fantastic. Yeah, we talked about New York City, the Big Apple, right? Visiting there with our best friend, I believe it was, if I remember correctly. Yeah, very good, Rashika. Good for you. Okay. I'm happy that I wasn't the only one who recalled that. That's great. Okay, yeah, so we did New York City. Okay. Yeah, Sammy, not Apple City, but the Big Apple. The Big Apple. Don't say Apple City. That's kind of weird, okay? So just the Big Apple. The Big Apple. All right. So fantastic. So you have an idea, and this time I want to focus a little bit more on content with you rather than planning, just because I know that you remember that. I know that many of you studied that. So here I'm just going to kind of zip through the planning part of this, Okay. So the category is a place. When you're describing a place, you want to talk about its appearance. You want to talk about its... Oh, let me get you back on screen here. Just give me a moment. So, appearance, history, right? Okay, here we go. So, appearance, history, function, okay, it's people is a good idea as well. All right. And its meaning for you, yeah, and its location, of course, right? Yeah, and if there are people that are located at this place, like a city, its citizens, you want to talk about the people as well. Okay, good. So here, it's a city. Roshni, welcome aboard. Okay. All right, so here we're talking about a city. That you visited. The tense is past tense. Okay. So you have to use past tense, past progressive, present perfect, past perfect. Okay. And then the next step is you have to identify some places. And I'm going to identify a few. So I was thinking about this a little bit before our class. And this time, like I say, rather than spending so much time on the planning stage, I want to focus with you more on the content. So I want to give you more practice time for content and feedback. Okay, so we're going to take it a little bit deeper in this sense. All right, so the next step is think of 2 to 3 good ideas for this. Okay. All right. So number 1, Paris. Number 2, London. Number 3, Dubai. All right. So I'm basically just giving you the choices this time rather than asking you for the choices. So there are 3 very, very recognized places around the world. So Paris, London, and Dubai. Now take a vote for this. 1, 2, or 3. Of course, I'm thinking about it should be something easy, unique, and lots of information, right? So let's take a vote, and then we'll identify which one. So just give me the number, okay? We're not putting Mumbai up there. It's going to be Paris, London, Dubai. So 1, 2, or 3. I've got 2 votes for 1, 1 vote for 2, 1 vote for 3. Just numbers, please. Don't write names as well, because then I'll get confused. I have to keep looking, okay? Wow, we're getting a pretty even split. So I have 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s. Making it tricky for me. 4 3s, 4 1s. But Begjan, you're double voting. Only vote once. Okay? Who else is anybody else double voting? Honey, you're also double voting. Honey, you're triple voting. Don't triple vote. Okay? You get disqualified if you triple vote. All right. Lois says 2. For Dobbs says 3. It looks like 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay. Carolina, have you voted? Let's see. Yeah, Carolina, you got number 1. Roshni's got number 3 as well. Okay, so it looks like number 3 is going to work for us. That's fine. Let's do Dubai. Okay, so All right, so we'll stick with Dubai. Looks like Dubai is a little bit in favor. All right, so Dubai it is, number 3. All right. Okay. And we have lots of information on Dubai. I think everybody does. It's quite a hot topic of discussion in tourism in the world these days. So I haven't been to Dubai, but I myself know quite a few facts about Dubai from just popular media, and I'm sure many of you do as well. Okay, so Dubai it is. Now, let's take some notes. So starting with location, where is Dubai located? Yeah, I bet a few of the people have been to Dubai or heard of it, and yeah, it's quite popular. Okay, so let's take some notes. I haven't been to Dubai, but I guarantee you I can talk for 2 minutes about Dubai. Okay, honey, writing that it's in the Middle East is not going to be useful. Everybody knows that. Only useful notes, Ois and honey. Okay, so let me emphasize that. Don't write notes that you know, okay? Okay, Awaz, that's a little bit more specific. So UAE. Okay. It's in the United Arab Emirates. Yeah. Okay, that's much better. Oh, it says Arabic country. To be more specific, it's the United Arab Emirates. Bekjan says it's on the Karachi Sea. Very good, Bekjan. So UAE, Karachi Sea. Yep. That's better. Okay. And it's kind of in the desert, right? If I'm not mistaken. Okay. Very good. So it's a desert region near the Karachi Sea. It's the UAE. Okay, that's better. All right. Whereabouts in the Middle East is it? Okay, so again, you want to be specific. All right. Describe its appearance. Okay, what does Dubai look like? Very good, Firdavs. Persian coast. Okay, nice. Okay. Qatar. Yeah, it's near Qatar, Ois. Very good. Okay. All right, Roshni says skyscraper-filled skyline. Okay, so some people would say it's modern. We don't need to say modern because that's, again, or we don't need to write modern in the notes because that's something that we know, right? So, so skyscrapers, skyline, yeah, definitely. Okay. It's very hot. Okay, but that could be part of its appearance, I suppose. Instead of very hot, so who wrote very hot? Sammy, instead of very hot, write the temperature. So what is the temperature? Okay. "35 to 50 degrees. Okay, let's say. Sure. Okay. Okay, Ferdov says many tiny man-made islands. Palm Tree Islands, right? I'm sure many of you have seen that. Carolina says more than 40 Celsius. Yeah, so I just wrote 35 to 40 degrees, right? Okay, good. Okay, glass, concrete, and greenery. There's actually some green space in Dubai, but it's, again, man-made, so we're going to get into that, right? Okay. Resorts, hotels, shopping malls. That's definitely something that comes to mind, right? Okay, all of that. All right. Very nice. Good. Nick Hill says, let's not forget the Burj Khalifa. Okay. So that would also be activities. Okay. So it's fashion, trends, it's busy, okay? It's vibrant, booming economics. Okay, very good. Burj Khalifa. So again, we have 1 minute, and in the 1 minute, we can get these notes down. So far, we're good. Okay. Let's not forget the people, the function, the history. Okay. And also keep in mind parts of the question. Okay. Who did you go with? What did you do when you were there? Let's take some notes on that. Okay. So this could be part of the activities. Okay. So activities could be Burj Khalifa. What else did you do there? Obviously shopping. You don't need to write that down. Carolina says, I visited my cousin Javier. Okay. Okay, good. Sure. Okay, Bekjan says, ate delicious food. Local Afghan cuisine. Yeah. Okay. Drove a Lamborghini. I should know how to spell that because I've driven one, but I don't. My Italian spelling's terrible. Okay, drove a Lamborghini. Very good. Nice. Bought souvenirs. Raced a camel. Sure. And if I go to Dubai, because of the start of class, remember what I said, I definitely will not leave out the indoor skiing, indoor surfing opportunity. Okay. Okay, great. Good. Who did you go with? Okay. That should come before, because that should be the people. Okay. So who did you go there with? Who was with you? Let's just include that. Maybe your friend, maybe your peers, or perhaps your family. Okay, I'm just going to try to see what the popular vote is here. Oh, it says my best friend called. We did best friend for New York, so let's not do best friend this time. Let's do something else. So let's do family, father, mother, brother, sister. Okay. Now you wouldn't write that down because you know that. Okay. All right. So that would just be in your mind, but I'm just writing that down so we're all on the same page. Okay, good. And one more. It's meaning for you. So what did Dubai mean for you? How did you feel about it? Just a quick note, something that you wouldn't remember that would actually help you to have more information. Okay. So what can you write down for its meaning? Okay. Careful students not to get carried away with too many exciting ideas. Like Bekjan, you want to be careful with something like meeting with Rashid Khan, the Afghan cricket player. Okay, so if you go down that path, you can really kind of get lost rather than focusing on the cue card. And so if you're in a real life situation and you're having a good chat with someone, yeah, sure, absolutely go and digress into different ideas about your trip and about what you did. But with the IELTS, you really want to just keep focused to the card, okay? I saw a couple other suggestions there as well that were a little bit off the beaten path, as they say, okay? All right, so you want to make sure that you keep your eye on the prize. That's the other idiom. That means you stay on goal with the card, all right? Okay. Okay, I was amazed by the wealth in technology and spent too much. All right, let's just stick with that. Okay, let's get our first sentence ready. So here we go. Like I said, we're focusing much more on content today. So first sentences, okay. Let's get our first sentence ready here. Dubai. Remember, we're starting with location. In this case, it would be a good idea to start with when you went there, okay. When and location. That's how I would start. Okay, when and location. Okay, so that's why I brought the notes back here. The UAE, Karachi Sea, Persian coast, the desert. Okay. Give me your first sentence. Okay, waiting for those first sentences. I'm going to start typing my own. Don't look at mine. Keep your eyes on your own, and then we'll compare after. So, okay, let's see what you came up with. Okay, Carolina says a memorable city that I visited with my family in 2018 was Dubai. Very good. Roshni says back in 2018, a fantastic place that I visited is Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, which is situated in the desert near the Karachi Sea. Okay. Ferdav says the first foreign city where I have visited was Dubai in the UAE. And I believe it's in the UAE, like the United States of America, in the US, in the UAE. Okay. Nick Hill, last year in the month of April, I visited a memorable place, Dubai in the UAE, near the Karachi Sea. Okay, good. All right. Interesting how a couple of us had 2018. We're so indoctrined now by the COVID situation that we're throwing ourselves back to the pre-COVID years. Here we go. So back in October of 2018, I was a little bit more specific because here I'm thinking that, okay, I can explain the reason for going in October or maybe even later, November, December, because I went there when it was a little bit cooler, right? From what I hear, it's not a good idea to go to Dubai in the summer months when it's super hot, right? So, okay, so back in October of 2018, not long before the COVID pandemic, I had an incredible 2-week trip to Dubai with my family. Okay, good. Oa says in 2016, I had visited the best city in the Middle East, Dubai. I traveled with my brother, Abbas, and the flight took about 5 hours from Syria. Okay, don't overspeak, Oas. Keep it short, okay? Backjohn says, right, sir, I always also wrote October, but when I saw it on your screen, I removed it. Yeah, we're all kind of going back to what would have been the perfect month to go to Dubai before COVID hit in March, and we're thinking October, November, right? Okay, Sammy says, last September I visited, that's good, that means that we're thinking, it's good, okay? Last September I visited the beautiful and fantastic city with Dubai with my wife. Sammy, you have some awkward wording there. Careful. Okay, careful. Yeah, we're in sync, students. We're definitely in sync. Okay, great. So now give me another sentence which describes Dubai's location. Okay, so UAE, Karachi Sea, Persian coast, desert. Use this information for me and create a nice, complex, compound sentence that shows a good level of lexical resource and grammar. Okay, so put those together. I'm going to do the same. Maksud, good, I see yours as well. Welcome aboard. All right, so describe its location. Okay. So again, step by step, you don't want to rush it because then you'll run out of ideas. Okay, go into details. Okay, so okay. So Ferdov says it is located in the Arabian Peninsula near the Persian Gulf course and is the second largest city after the capital. Okay. See you later, Bekjan. Thanks for joining and good luck with your next steps. Oas says Dubai is located in the heart of the Arabic desert near Qatar, 5 hours by plane from Syria. It has a wide desert and a small developed city capital of Sharqa. Okay, Oas, I think you're careful. You're sliding a little bit off topic near the end there, right? So clear description, okay? Here is what I wrote. As many people know, Dubai is one of the largest cities in the United Arab Emirates, and it is built in the desert along the Persian coast next to the beautiful crystal blue Karachi Sea. Okay. Notice the description. So why am I coming up with that description of crystal blue? Because I can visualize it. Okay. When you have that visual bird's eye view image of Dubai, you really see that very nice blue water of the sea. Okay. All right. Maksud says Dubai is located on the Persian Gulf coast of the United Arab Emirates, and it's roughly at sea level. Okay, very good. Yeah, Maksud, that's really nice description. I like how you described that it's at sea level, which is, you're correct. It's right at sea level or just above, right? Okay, very, very good. Nice content. Okay, that's what we want. That's where we're using our notes. Somebody sent me a question through YouTube and said, is it okay if I look at my paper during my 2-minute response time? Yeah, absolutely. That's why you get the note paper, and that's why you can take notes, is so that you can look at it and use your notes to put together some nice sentences with complex compound grammar and good vocabulary. Okay? All right, so now we have its location. Now, of course, the next is we want to describe its appearance. Okay, so here's where we want to talk about the skyline, the skyscrapers, glass, concrete, that it's modern, the temperature, the man-made islands, and then the resorts, the hotels. So here we can definitely write a few different sentences. Okay, so now we want to describe clearly, accurately. We want to create an image of Dubai for our listener, in this case for the examiner. Okay. Nick Hill says it's situated in the UAE near the beautiful Karachi Sea. I visited there for 2 weeks or so, and thousands of people visit there each year. Millions of people visit there each year if it's not COVID, right? Okay, good. So let's describe it. Okay, so okay. Let's see what you have. Ferdov says the city has transformed over the last 4 decades after the discovery of oil, and nowadays it's modern, not only in Asia, but also in the world. Ferdovs, it's a good start. I made a couple of corrections there to your grammar and lexical resource. It's good. Roshni says, initially, as I landed in the city, I saw the high skyscrapers fill the sky and the skyline. In addition, the sidewalks were filled with lush green trees, which were very surprising for a city situated in the middle of the desert. Very good, Roshni. Maksud says, when I visited Dubai, the temperature was scorching hot. I would say about 35 to 40 degrees. However, the outstanding skyscrapers made my travel unforgettable. Okay, Carolina says, we visited my cousin Javier because he wanted to show us the impressive Burj Khalifa. Okay, Carolina, you're jumping into your activities right away, which is okay, but careful, you should give a little bit of description of what the city looks like before you get to that. Okay, you'll see that with what I'm writing, I get to that as well, but from describing the city, I get to the Burj Khalifa. Okay, it makes sense because Dubai is modern, there's lots of skyscrapers, and of course, one of the big attractions is the Burj Khalifa, which is one of the highest building, or which is the highest building there and in the world, and that's one of the activities to do there is to visit the Burj Khalifa and go to the lookout deck or the top floor. Okay. All right. Nick Hill says Dubai is well known not only for its luxury shopping, but also for the world's tallest building named the Burj Khalifa, which is about 850 meters tall, and a lot of other skyscrapers that clearly show the city's wealth. Okay, Nick Hill, a couple of corrections, but looking good. All right. Sammy says Dubai's infrastructure is amazing with all the skyscrapers like the Burj Khalifa and spacious roads, the variety of foods available and famous restaurants across the city. Especially in the night, when all of the buildings are lit up. The city looks absolutely gorgeous with its beautiful lights. Okay. All right, Sammy, some nice writing there. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Good job. So here's what I wrote, somewhat similar to what your expressions are. I'm also describing the wealth, the skyline. So Dubai is one of the most modern and wealthiest cities in the world, and as such, it has an incredible skyline filled with skyscrapers that touch the clouds, including the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa, which stretches over a quarter of a mile high. In fact, my father, mom, sister, and I went to the top of the Burj Khalifa, and the view from the lookout deck was absolutely breathtaking. Okay, from there, we could see all of the man-made parks and green space around the city, as well as the unique man-made islands in the shape of palm trees and other interesting motifs. Okay. Right? So now I've transitioned to describe the look of the city, and I'm also explaining what I'm doing. So rather than just saying, oh, and there are these palm-shaped islands, I'm actually saying that we were looking at these palm tree-shaped islands, okay? So from there, we could see all of the man-made. I believe man-made is one word, so you can join it together. Parks and green space around the city, as well as the unique man-made islands in the shape of palm trees and other interesting motifs. Okay, good. Now, I want to make sure at this point that I'm getting to all of the questions on the card, so I don't want to get lost in just descriptions. I want to make sure that I'm focusing on the card. So at this point, remember to focus on the card. Okay. You can always go back and expand later, but you don't want to run out of time. And sometimes the examiners might stop you at 90 seconds if they have a lot of candidates that day. So according to the card, you want to say which city did you visit, why. We haven't really explained why, so we might want to throw that in there right away. So immediately I would start thinking to express myself as during our 2-week vacation, we participated in several fun and memorable activities, including, okay, because I haven't really talked about the activities, but by looking at the card at this point, so not only am I looking at my notes, but I'm also looking at my card, I'm making sure that I answer all of the questions, not just which city did you visit, but also the why, because I was there as a tourist on vacation. Okay, so I'm giving reason here. Okay, who did you go with? I already talked about that with my family, my dad, mom, sister. And again, I can talk more about it later, but I've already mentioned this, so I've covered this point. What did you do when you're there? Okay, so I'm getting into that now. Again, with the help of my notes, resorts, shopping malls, okay, restaurants, fashion, Lamborghini, camel racing, indoor skiing. So now I can get into putting these together for the activities, okay? All right, and Ferdov says, during the night we saw a fantastic fountain show, and this event was interesting. And watched by thousands of people over the globe. Okay, Ferdov's good. Don't generalize to the thousands of people in the globe. Just stick to what you're doing, okay? So Ois says, my brother and I spent 2 days in Dubai. First, we visited the Burj Khalifa. We took some pictures from the top floor. Then we attended a car gallery. And the next day, we watched a camel race. Okay. All right. Good. So Firdaus, now you're thinking of why you went there. All right. I'm going to start writing a bit too while you're putting together your activities. So during our 2-week vacation, we participated in several fun and memorable activities, including renting luxury sport cars. I drove a Lamborghini, which was one of my childhood dreams. Also, we went diving in the sea and saw some amazing fish. On another day, we tried indoor skiing. And the day before departure, we visited some of the massive shopping malls to buy souvenirs. Of course, we tried a lot of different and delicious Afghani foods during our stay. Okay, so getting into those activities, right? Okay. All right. Let's see what others came up with. Just keep going here, members. So I'm looking for more. Ferdov says, during our trip, we paid for a desert tour. Wouldn't say bought a desert tour is a little bit awkward for me, Ferdovs. We participated in a desert tour and observed the national festival about the Arabian history. Nick Hill says, since we had a vacation for 2 weeks or so, we decided not only to visit all of the tourist places, but also to become more familiar with the culture. And how did you do that, Nick Hill? So if you say that, you have to explain it as well, right? So overall, I had an amazing time in Dubai. I loved the culture and modern feel of the city. However, I do have to admit that the heat was a bit intense at times, hovering around 45 degrees. Even though it was October. Nevertheless, I definitely would recommend others to visit there if they get the chance. All right. So that's about all that we can fit into the 2 minutes. Okay. So again, this is a second look at this card with 2 months apart, and hopefully you felt like you were more comfortable talking about a place, another city that you have visited with someone for a certain purpose than the first time we did this. So, how many of you members felt that this time when you were doing this, the ideas were coming a little bit easier? You were able to remember the structure of location, appearance, history, attendees, activities, meaning than the first time when we talked about New York. So again, I want to show you that it's worth revisiting certain questions for the IELTS when you're studying, especially questions like this one. I mean, this kind of a cue card where you have to talk about a different city than your own hometown that you visited. It's one of those questions that it has a good chance to be on your exam in one form or another. They might not say a different city, they might say a different place, or they might say talk about a city that you went on vacation to, or talk about a city that you would like to visit in the future for your vacation. So practicing a couple of different places, talking about New York, talking about Dubai, talking about Paris, London, those are just really good places to practice talking about when you are going into your IELTS exam. And if you get the topic talking about a location, then this can really, really help you. Okay. All right. Ferdov says, yeah, that was easier for me. Good. Nikhil, yeah, I'm glad you got that. All right. Great. Okay. All right, everyone, so let's practice this from the top. Let's go through this, okay? I'm going to read this. Try not to read. Try to just repeat after me. Here we go. So back in October of 2018, not long before the COVID pandemic, I had an incredible 2-week trip to Dubai with my family. As many people know, Dubai is one of the largest cities in the United Arab Emirates, and it is built in the desert along the Persian coast next to the beautiful crystal blue Karachi Sea. Dubai is one of the most modern and wealthiest cities in the world, and as such, it has an incredible skyline filled with skyscrapers that touch the clouds, including the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa, which stretches over a quarter of a mile high. In fact, my father, mom, sister, and I went to the top of the Burj Khalifa, and the view from the lookout deck was absolutely breathtaking. From there, we could see all of the man-made parks and green spaces around the city, as well as the unique man-made islands in the shape of palm trees and other interesting motifs. During our 2-week vacation, we participated in several fun and memorable activities, including renting luxury sports cars. I drove a Lamborghini, which was one of my childhood dreams. Also, we went diving in the sea and saw some amazing fish. On another day, we tried indoor skiing, and the day before departure, we visited some of the massive shopping malls to buy souvenirs. Of course, we tried a lot of different and delicious Afghani foods during our stay. Overall, I had an amazing time in Dubai. I loved the culture and the modern feel of the city. However, I do have to admit that the heat was a bit intense at times, hovering around 45 degrees, even though it was October. Nevertheless, I definitely would recommend others to visit there if they get the chance. And then here, if I had more time, if the examiner doesn't stop me, then I could continue with, for instance, a place I would recommend tourists to visit is because I went there. And, okay, so you can expand, all right? You can build off of your closing statement if you have to, okay? So kind of finishing on a statement like this, you can continue talking if they don't stop you, but at this point, you've answered all of the questions on the card and you're on your way to that band 9 score, okay? Carolina says, sure. All right, so when you get the chance, members, try to do this card one more time over the next few days and try it with Paris. Try it with London. Okay? I challenge you to do that. Okay? Okay, so that's my challenge for you, all right? Okay, everyone, that's it for this class, but don't go too far because coming up in 30 minutes, we're going to have Speaking Part 3, and Speaking Part 3 will continue with questions related to this Part 2, and it will be some unique questions. So we're going to look at some of the Part 3 questions that we did not get to cover last time. So hang around. Be back in half hour after a short break. I will be back also. It's the last class before we take a couple days off from the live streaming. So get in all the speaking that you can while you can. So hang around. I'm Adrian, signing out from Central Europe for now, but I'll be back shortly. Bye.